and welcome to the Red Jacket Club. My name is Andy. I'm here with my friend Brendan, and this is where we talk Cardinals baseball. It is Sunday, April 16th, and the Cardinals were able to just squeak out a series split against the Pirates today, which is a higher note than losing 3 games to the Pirates, so that's pretty cool. We have some quick news hits today, other updates on the standings and just going over the series in general. But before we get into that, I did want to ask that if this is your first time checking out the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out as we go further and further into the 2023 season. If you like this video, share it around with your friends, Cardinals fans. We're trying to reach them, and it'd be great if you help us do that. So that's pretty great. Yeah, awesome. Brendan, you were at the Battlehawks game today. Missed
Yep.
a little bit of the game, but it sounds like you watched some of it. Whole full 4 game set. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? How you looking at the Cards right now?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of baseball to talk about today since we had 4 games. But last episode, I did say that it was kind of a failure, anything below 3 wins this series. And we just got super lucky to get that second win today. I mean, we almost lost 3 against the Pirates, which would have been super upsetting, but came out with a split. But anyway, before we get into all the baseball talk, going to give a little bit of some updates on St. Louis sports. Like you said, I went to the Battlehawks game today. It was a great experience. We went tailgating. It was a good time. And then basically we lost to the Sea Dragons like 30-12. It was a blowout. I don't know much about football, but they just didn't look good. Defense looked bad, all that stuff. But our only chance to make the playoffs is for the Sea Dragons to lose next week, and we have to win. That's our only chance. Even if we win and they win, they still win because they beat us in head-to-head. And then City, they won a huge game against Cincinnati, gave them their first loss. They beat them 5-1. I didn't actually watch it because it was a subscription this week, but I saw the highlights, and, man, they just look good. I love their passing. I don't know. They looked really good. Were you able to watch it?
I was because of the issues in the weather. The delay caused some weird happenings to try and watch it, even though I was subscribed. It was telling me I needed to subscribe. So I waited it out. I was just going to watch highlights or something like that later, but it eventually came back on. And I scrolled back to watch some of the goals. And, man, those first 3 goals were pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way that Cincinnati could defend against them. So it's pretty cool that they were able to bounce back and win, and then even put more pressure on early in the second half. So City's looking like a dynamite team. It's pretty
Yeah.
fun to watch, and it's great to we've said this before, but just be outsiders looking in. They make it fun because, like, if as baseball fans, complete baseball fans, if they weren't good, it just would have been another thing that was out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could watch it from time to time, but they're keeping me glued to the screen, so that's
Yeah,
pretty
me
cool.
too. Yeah, I'm so tempted every single week to just subscribe, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I don't know. I love watching them. Yeah, just gonna
For
keep
sure.
it going. Let's get into the baseball talk, though.
Yeah, absolutely. There are just a couple of quick hits in terms of news. Newt Bark has come back. Obviously, we saw that today. He got a big home run that tied the game, which was pretty fantastic. And that led to Ali Marmol's 100th win. I know I'm a little bit sour on Ali. I think a lot of fans are sour on Ali. My mom, my mom was saying today when I was over at their house that she's like, that guy just sucks as a manager. I was like, why? She goes, I just don't like him. I was like, all right,
Yeah,
yeah. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of like that.
yeah. He's
And
just, I don't know. He's getting that bad rap, and I always say that I like to defend managers because they do a good job, and a lot of times they know more than we do, and I'm sure he does. But, man, when he wears his hat in post-game interviews like this, and you can't even see his eyes, and he takes it
just a
so
couple,
serious,
yeah,
man.
couple of things that are just like, man,
Uh,
what the heck? It's a little overboard, but overboard got him to 100 wins in his
yeah,
just the early part of his second season. So that's good on him. I'm sure there will be more wins to come, even though the Cardinals still kind of continue to struggle throughout the season here. Another quick update. It sounds like DeYoung is starting to get a little bit of his timing back. I saw a highlight from a Memphis Redbirds game. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but he hit a home run. So that's pretty neat. If he's able to be a power bench bat, or some form of that when he comes back, that would be great. And then Waino sounds like he's progressing. Earlier this week, he faced off against Lars Nootbaar when Nootbaar was trying to rehab himself back into the lineup, and Waino was throwing him a live BP session, and I think he's supposed to be starting a rehab assignment here soon. So hoping that Nootbaar is back, and hoping that DeYoung, I guess, becomes some form of his old self, and that Waino is back on track to be in the starting rotation. And we can get a little bit more consistency, because I feel like that's something that our team needs pretty big right now.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about Waino coming back last episode. We already have kind of my thoughts there. But real quick on DeYoung, you mentioned he did hit a home run, but I kind of wanted to dig into some more stats that he's talking about. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but he's not doing very well in AAA as you would like to see. He's 7 for 31, which is a 226 batting average. He's got a 36% strikeout rate, and he's only walked once. So those are some quick stats. You can just take them how it is.
Yeah, I never said that he was probably back to where he needed to be, but
Yeah.
a home run is a home run. Those are not easy to hit. So
for sure.
If he's at least getting his timing back, late inning relief for Tommy, I guess, or something like that. I imagine that his I can't think of what his chances, for lack of a better word, are going to be very limited, just like we've learned today, have gone toward Jordan Hicks. I guess that's another bit of news that I almost forgot about, is that it sounds like Ali Marmol is now considering Hicks as no longer to be an asset in high leverage situations. They had some type of meeting before the press could enter the clubhouse this morning, and it turns out that the decision was made that he's no longer going to be in high leverage situations, which we can maybe get into more later, because obviously he had some performances that we can talk about in the game recaps. But Brendan, your thoughts on the less use of Jordan Hicks as the season continues to go on?
Well, I mean, when you have a 12.7 ERA, you got to see it coming. You want to believe in him, but when he has 8 walks in 5 innings and just gets hit around, we've mentioned that all he has is a fastball. He likes to think that it's a really good pitch, but it's just not as straight. He doesn't have a breaking pitch to back it up. He can't throw it for strikes. So I don't know. It's a good project to get him back to where he should be, but I don't think we really had too much faith coming into the season, did we?
I know that I was kind of like, where the heck is he going to pitch? Because obviously Helsley took his spot, and we have so many other relief pitchers that are better than him at this point, that it was kind of like, how are we going to use him? Well, it seems as though Ollie was trying to just throw him into situations and hoping that he would figure his stuff out. But that, I guess, is just not how that kid learns, because it didn't work. So cost us some games early, and that's not always fun. But they've learned their lesson. I guess they're going to start using them in low leverage situations from now on. And speaking of those situations where we did not lose or did not win, we will run through some quick NL Central standings to kind of wrap up the weekend series. Today, as it stands as time of recording, the Brewers are at the top of the NL Central with 11 wins. They are 11-5. The Cubs are in second place with an 8-6 record. Pirates are 9-7. The Cardinals are 7-9, and the Reds are at last place with a 6-8 record. And that's just unfortunate, man, because there's no way, based on, the series that we just watched, we should have played better against the Pirates, and I just don't know how we are worse than the Cubs based on the off seasons that both teams had. I can understand the Brewers. They obviously were a powerhouse last season and just kind of fell off in August, but it's weird still to see the Cardinals at the bottom of those standings.
Yeah, I don't know. We just got to keep pushing, and then we'll kind of dig into everything that we have to talk about on the Pirates series. But we got I don't know, another not so great team coming up that we'll also get into. So at some point, you would think that we'll just gain some momentum. And I don't know. Like I said, I mean, it's early. It's still April. So
If anything can get them that momentum that they need, it's today's game. That would be
yeah,
nice.
for sure.
But I mean, we kind of said that coming out of Colorado, they came back
Right.
and won a couple of games at the end of that, and then they just fell flat again. So I said last time that there are basically two sides to this Cardinals coin, and there's one team that looks really good and really put together, and that's the team that we saw Friday night. And then there's the other team that just looks sloppy and doesn't know how to play baseball, and that's the team that we've been seeing in these losses. They're just handing teams wins, and it's just really frustrating to see because I know that they're better than that. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's frustrating. So,
Yeah.
um, unless you have any other thoughts, might as well just kind of start getting into it so that we can actually talk about the
Yeah.
games that just happened.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. So we'll do my quick little recaps that we like to do, starting with game one. Batting average with runners in scoring position was the story here. The Cardinals are currently ranked 25th in this stat while going 0 for 9 in this game. Monty continues his hot streak, going 6 1/3 innings with 2 earned runs and 5 strikeouts to earn a quality start. The bullpen ends up giving up 3 more runs attributed to Cabrera and Stratton, my guy. Even though Stratton's was on a pass ball, just saying. I'm gonna give Wilson kind
Was
of
it a
the
was it a
blame there.
pass ball or was it a wild pitch?
It was confirmed a pass ball,
Okay.
so Wilson should have caught it. So that was his only run there. Wilson continued to struggle in this one, going 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. And Cardinals had 6 hits total and dropped the game 5-0. Moving to game two, defense, and more defense. I was at this game in left field, so I got to see up close and personal. Standing ovations were given to O'Neill's diving play in left field and Edman's diving spot with a stop. Did I say stop or spot? I don't know. With a dime to Goldie. I mean, that play was ridiculous. That play alone should get him the Gold Glove at short.
Yeah.
The defense in this game easily saved at least three runs, which is the main point I'm trying to make. And the Cardinals end up winning this one 3-0 with a go-ahead. With Go Ahead Gorman is what we're calling him nowadays, getting us on the board in the sixth. The hit by Gorman ended an 0 for 15 streak with runners in scoring position. Arenado and Gorman combined for 6 hits in that one. And in game three, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch this one because we had our personal scrimmage for our summer team, but we lost in extras to the Pirates, and that did not feel good. Matz looked good. Donovan had a 3-hit game, but the bullpen, a.k.a. Jordan Hicks, can't hold on to this game as we end up giving up 3 runs in the top of the 10th for a final score of 6-3. Pitching isn't the whole blame, though, as the Cardinals only managed 3 runs and 7 hits total, 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. And finally, our game today, which we already kind of mentioned, Tommy Edman comes through with the walk-off hit. We got really close there, man. But Mikolas actually looked really good. He went 5 2/3 with 2 earned runs, a couple walks, 4 Ks. Zack Thompson continued his scoreless, no runs given in 2023, period.
Yeah.
Zero earned runs given. He has by far been our top option out of the bullpen so far. And yeah, other than that, bullpen looked pretty good. I think there was an error. So VerHagen only had a run, no earned run, which
Yeah, it was an error on
Donovan?
Donovan. Yeah.
Yeah. So Donovan made the error, but ended up winning this game 5-4, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Late inning coming through, finally, it seems like that's not happening as much as it did last year. That just seemed kind of like it was the Cardinals' story in 2022. A lot of that obviously also helping or coming from the help of Albert Pujols. But yeah, late innings, runners in scoring position, it just doesn't seem like the Cardinals are getting it done right now. It's good to see that they got it done today.
Yeah.
We can start with game one because I actually was able to watch this one Thursday night's game. And one of the things that I had mentioned last week is that something that Chip Carey had mentioned on the broadcast. So I didn't know Chip Carey was a fan of the Red Jacket Club, but it sounds like he's listening.
Oh yeah, he's
No,
listening.
I had said that I really wish that the Cardinals would start on the right foot and get a series or a game win in game one of the series because they still haven't done it and they didn't do it Friday night or Thursday night, excuse me. They wasted a great outing from Jordan Montgomery, 6 1/3 with I think only 2 runs. Um,
Oh,
it's a mixture of bad luck and just bad plate appearances. Like if I assume if the shift was still there, like a lot of these pop fly balls that are just falling in the middle of the outfield would start landing. But just I don't know. And then a whole bunch of bad plate appearances by the Cardinals. We talked about it in your little quick recap there, but they're still leaving so many guys on base. I mean, there was 19 left on base in game one. Skipping to game three, there were 23 left on base, and then today there were 20 left on base. So it's so bad. It's so
yeah.
bad to watch that you can't even cash in on one of those runs. Usually, it's coming with 2 outs. That's the other thing. So there are long fly balls to the edge of the track that aren't contributing anything with bases loaded because the guys before that couldn't do anything. And so that's it's so frustrating to watch. I there's nothing else to say really.
Yeah, the only guy that really has that clutch factor, and that's basically what all this is Gorman. He's been the only guy. And also it's something that I noted. I don't know if you heard me say that we were 25th in the league with batting average with runners in scoring position,
Mm-hmm.
but at the time of game one, at least, it might have changed. But we're fifth in batting average overall, so we're just lacking that clutch factor. We can hit the
Yeah.
ball, we can get guys on, but we just can't get them in. So it's just I don't know if we need to start playing some small ball or what we got to do, but yeah, we got to figure that out for sure because we could win so many more games, obviously, if we could just get a few more guys around to score. I mean, it's as easy
Yeah.
as that.
And we've talked about it. It's crazy that they continue to go to Jordan Hicks when he just hasn't figured out how to pitch. He can't locate his fastball, and when you can't do that, and you have to rely on your off speed that isn't as good as your fastball, guys are just going to rock you. Like it's pretty crazy. And to kind of mix in a talking point here and from game three, excuse me. It's what's weird is that it's the whole team. I get that Ali is the manager, but he got thrown out in game three, and they still put Hicks in. So it's not that it was Ollie's decision. It's the team looking at whatever bullshit analytics saying that he's better against these certain situations. Right now, he's not good at all. And we talked about it, and they've made the adjustment. They're not going to put him in, but it's pretty frustrating to watch him through. I watched the replay because I wasn't able to watch game three. But Jim Edmonds pointed it out. He threw like 7 straight sliders to Andrew McCutchen in game three, and McCutchen just waited till he got one that he liked, and then he took him into the stands. So it's pretty crazy that it took this long and a loss that big and just depressing for them to really figure this out.
I wonder if it was just kind of an internal thing, like, hey, the first couple weeks of the season, we're going to give Hicks as many high leverage opportunities as possible because
Yeah.
they don't really know what to do with him at this point because they know that it's kind of do or die. You know, we talked about whenever we were coming into the season, there's guys that are do or die right now, and I think Hicks was one of them. You know, and so they wanted to put him out there in some high leverage spots, and obviously it just hasn't worked out. So now we're happy that they know he's not the guy in those spots.
Yeah.
But now it's just who is that guy, and I think Zack Thompson, man, he's looked super effective. Obviously, he hasn't
Mhm.
given up a run. And then I know I'm not even going to say it, but
Chris
there's
Stratton.
there's other options out
Yeah,
there.
no,
So
there
I'll
definitely
say.
are, and they proved it at the beginning, like quickly in the first couple of weeks, that VerHagen, Thompson, and Stratton were much better options. And now that you say that, that could be a pretty decent point that they were just trying to see whether or not it worked, and obviously that's better to do in April than it is to do in August. So
Exactly. Yep.
now they know, and now they can move on from it. Game two was the game that you were at, and that's really the only point that I wrote down that you made, is that defense was just great. Like and this is the point that I made before. If game two's Cardinals is what we have from now until the end of the season, then it's a 100-win team. Like that looked like the Cardinals that the 2023 Cardinals should be. And they obviously are there. They can do it. They did it. They did it on Friday. I just don't know what's causing them to not consistently be that way. But yeah, defense was great, and they were able to tack on a couple of runs and keep that other opponent runs down to zero.
Yeah.
That's a great win.
Yeah, I was happy to see Woodford come out and do really well. He went 5 1/3. He did get in some jams because he gave up 7 hits, but a couple of double plays. I think there are 2 double plays in that game, and only 3 strikeouts. But no, regardless, it was good to see Woodford come out and do well. And then Zack Thompson was in this game again. Thompson, by the way, I'm pulling up his stats really quick. He's gone 8 1/3 innings with 11 strikeouts, no earned runs. So. Yeah, just continuing on what I've been saying. He's been our best out of the bullpen. And then another thing to note about this game is I think the pitch clock is awesome because a 3-0 game shouldn't take 3 hours. It actually took 2 hours and 17 minutes. So
Yeah.
that was kind of awesome, man. And it felt really good. It felt really smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think a 6-3 game should take 3 hours. Like it's what's great is that it's improving the game. That it's giving people more action, and more whatever you want to call it. I can't even think of words today.
Yeah, I
But
know
it,
my brain is so foggy, dude.
yeah, but it's improving the game. That's the main point. And you're right. 2 minutes 17 or 2 hours 17 minutes is perfect. Like if every game could be that long. I love baseball. I want as much baseball, but I want as much effective baseball as I can get instead of just lollygagging around
Yep.
and all that. So that's pretty neat. Um, I think another point to make about all of these games is that we wasted pitching, and we kind of talked about it with people being left on base. But like Miles today, and even Matz yesterday. I know Matz is probably our weakest link in the rotation right now, but he's still also not pitching poorly. He is not locating things well, which is causing problems. But if he's just able to figure out his mechanics to work down more, then that just kind of alleviates a lot of our problems with Matz. He's working way too much up in the zone. He's leaving his curveball or slider or whatever he has, whatever breaking pitch is just falling right middle. And that's never a recipe for success. But regardless of all of that, today in the first inning, there never should have been a run. That's the biggest problem. Is like we're handing other teams wins. So there's a ball that rolls underneath Newt Barr's glove, which just is never a great look. And then late in the game, my dad put it perfectly. He was like a 2-run game with how well their starting pitcher was throwing. I can't remember who it was today, but their starting pitcher was throwing really well. Miles not so
He's
much.
technically their ace, by the way, Mitch
Yeah,
Keller. Yeah.
Mitch Keller. Okay, he a 2-run game compared to a 1-run game is so much better. There's a bigger difference. Again, I can't find words today, so I apologize. But there's a bigger difference between a 2-run game and a 1-run game. And when you get a routine ground ball like Donovan did, and he tries to do too much with it, tries to be too quick, tries to be too fancy, and he costs a run, and it causes us to be in a worse position than we should have been late in that game. So what I mean by the Friday night Cardinals is what we need. Everything was sound. Every play you knew was going to be an out. But late in these other games, it just seemed like it was so sloppy watching the defense. And other than Nolan today, Nolan Arenado was on one. But most of the time, we're just giving base runners bases. We're giving other teams runs. It's not fun to watch.
Yeah, it just goes back to fundamentals, really, and I don't know. We can keep making excuses of early in the season and all that, but yeah, we know the Cardinals can be much better, play a much better brand of baseball. One thing I do want to say real quick is, yeah, we got Nootbaar back, man, and he proved to be really effective the last 2 games. He had 3 walks yesterday and then a home run today, like a really clutch home run, right? I mean,
it tied the game.
Yeah.
After the error. After the error that made it a 2-run. So we would have had the lead. Another point that I'm trying to make is if we don't give up the run in the first inning and we don't make the error in the late inning, that's a 1-0 game and going into the later innings. Instead, it's a 3-1 game, and it's just sloppy baseball. Glad that Nootbaar has been seeing the ball well and hits that home run. But it's, again, just sloppy play causing us to have to go into the 10th inning of that game.
I wonder why that wasn't marked as an error, because it only says Donovan, and obviously I wasn't able to watch the game today, so I didn't even know that happened.
It was just kind of like a sinking liner, and he tried to get to it, but it just went under his glove. It wasn't technically an error.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. But at least we were 5 for 13 today in runners in scoring position.
Yeah,
that's decent. That helps something.
I mean, we kind of keep mulling over the same point. They just need to play cleaner baseball. I don't necessarily know what else to say other than that. And then once those runners are in scoring position, we need to stop leaving them on base. Even if they're not, we have so many quick guys. Even Wilson Contreras is stealing bases. He stole a clutch base, but again, I think he was left on. He stole third and he couldn't make it home. I can't remember which game that was, but I think that was the first game of the series.
First game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And so, like, when you have your catcher stealing third base and then you can't knock him in, that's got to change. And hoping that like I said, the momentum changes a little bit here. Big walk-off win helps, but it's at the same token that like there are guys that are getting chances and they're missing them. So we can talk a little bit more about the positives of the series, though. We can talk about our players of the series. I'll start with mine. This guy, he turned 32 today, so that's pretty fun. Got the walk-off win for him, which is also very fun. And like I mentioned, his defense today was just something out of this world. Nolan Arenado, he went 6 for 17. He had 2 runs in the series, and then I just have defense. The plays that he made today alone, again, you said that about Tommy. He's just won another Gold Glove, in my opinion. Watching him wait back on a ball that has so much spin and so much hop, and all he does is stick his hand out there, bare hands the ball, and makes an incredible throw over to Goldschmidt. I just don't know, from a third baseman to another third baseman, how the hell he does that. Because I mean, you saw me yesterday. I didn't plant my feet and I threw the ball. I mean, it's April. I'll say it's early. But yeah, I mean, I tried to do what Nolan Arenado does, and I couldn't do it. I don't think anybody can. This guy is incredible. So the defense alone should get him the player of the series for me. But he was able to show up. I think he had 3 for 3 game, then going 0 for 5 the next game with 4 strikeouts. But we won't talk about that. Then he had 2 runs scored in one of the other games. So he showed up. He shows up every series, and that's the only reason you need, really.
Yeah, Arenado, we'll be talking about him forever. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Nolans. Nolan Gorman, I think I had him last series too. I think I've had him 3 times so far.
Yeah.
He went 6 for 16 in this series with 4 RBI. Man, he's just a clutch machine. You know, we talked about it. I guess they're calling him Go Ahead Gorman at this point because he's driving in those runs to get us a lead and stuff. But no, I mean, he's pretty much my favorite player right now on the Cardinals. I've been telling people that at least. So I'm going to stick to it. I think he's just got so much potential. We kind of forgot early in the season that he was a highly touted prospect, and just love watching him play.
Yes, Go Ahead Gorman is correct. I mean, he would have had the game-winning run if he didn't hit it so hard. He hits the ball today with some runners on that could have won the game, and hit it so hard that it left the yard. And so once it bounced, hopefully that makes sense. But it was a ground rule double instead of staying in the park. So he's just coming up and doing what he needs to do. He's seeing the ball really well. He's completely changed the way his approach to the plate. And it feels like guys just don't know how to pitch to him because he's just hitting it. He's hitting it the other way too. He's hitting it strong the other way. And that's something that some other guys on this team aren't doing right now, which is great to watch from a guy who was striking out so much on pitches away. Completely different player. And I don't see how we can't pick one of the three, Gorman, Arenado, or Goldschmidt right now as player of the series like every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, those guys are just carrying our team right now, and everyone else will fall in. Hopefully Newbar will help the lineup a little bit, but let's go ahead and just look forward to the Diamondback series unless you got anything else to say about the Pirates series.
Nope, just really hoping that they roll into I think we're going to Arizona, right? This is an away series, or are they here?
That's a good question. I looked at the schedule, and have we had 2 series at home?
We have not. So no, yes, so Arizona is coming here. So that's also good.
I found out after looking at the schedule that it's like 2 series at home, 2 away. There's only twice that it falls out of that pattern. Yeah. So 2 series at home, 2 away, 2 series at home, 2 away.
Cool. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, yeah, Arizona comes in. I mean, you said it before, you said that they're not so great. I'm going to kind of disagree with you. I mean, their pitching doesn't look like it's the ones that we're facing don't nearly strike me as good pitching. So that we have that going for us, but this is a good young team, and it's kind of scary with how well they're performing in terms of offense, and with how our pitching is performing. But they faced Flaherty in game 1, and we faced Merrill Kelly. Flaherty was on the last time he pitched. Everything was located down in the zone. Like I mentioned, some of our pitchers haven't been able to do. Hopefully they start making that adjustments. But Flaherty looked good. I'm hoping that he rolls into this series and pitches the same as he did before. Jordan Montgomery faces off Dre Jameson in game 2, hoping that we can not waste another great start from Jordan Montgomery. And I had Dre Jameson's stats up before, but you had mentioned that he was pitching pretty well. He won that spot in the rotation, and that he was kind of pitching well for them. Any thoughts on that game coming in?
I don't know a ton about him. All I know is that he was in a battle with Ryan Nelson, who we won't see this series. I just assumed that someone got injured because I think they're both in the rotation right now. But anyway, he's thrown 12 and a third innings, and he's got a 1.46 ERA with 12 strikeouts. So he has been very effective. I know he's kind of a no-namer right now, but he's been pretty hot lately. So it might be a tough game, but we also got Monty going, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, hopefully that Monty can hold down the fort. And then Jake Woodford, he's going to come back in after pitching, I thought, pretty well. He pitched game 2, right? Friday night's game. He went 5 and a third, I think.
Yep.
And, holding that hot Pirates team to 0 runs is something pretty special. And then we go up against Madison Bumgarner, and I mean, I hate to say it, but talk about like washed up. I don't know about anything that Bumgarner's done in the last couple of years that would make me say otherwise. So if we don't bang on Madison Bumgarner, I mean, he's got a whip right now of 2.122. So he is just letting people on base. And, we like to leave people on base. So hopefully we don't do that in that series. But yeah, Madison Bumgarner, we got to take advantage of that last game.
Yeah, he's walking tons of people, and we Cardinals, I would say as a whole, take very professional at bats. So I would think a lot of walks that game. He's averaging 7 in 9 innings, 7 walks per 9. So yeah, that should be a pretty good game for us. And he's a lefty too. We love lefties with our right-handed lineup. But yeah, I like this game. I like this series. I mean, the Diamondbacks are a decent team. They're kind of a fringe team right now. I kind of loop them in with the Orioles, even though the Orioles should be better than them, but they're kind of on the same tier as them. So they have potential. We can't like overlook them or anything, but I mean, we got to win this series. I mean, if we can't win against the Diamondbacks, it's like, when is it going to stop?
Yeah, well, especially against these pitching matchups. I mean, Merrill Kelly's not that big of a threat, I don't think, and we just talked about Bumgarner. I mean, they say to look at a pitcher's FIP before you look at their ERA. Madison Bumgarner's FIP is 7.68.
Yeah.
So he's causing himself to lose.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You're right. If it's good that we split with the Pirates if we were going to do anything, but we have to win this series. And I hope that we win game 1. I hope Flaherty goes out there and pitches a gem and we tack on some runs against Merrill Kelly. We need that first game win in the series, and it needs to come in the first game to set the tone. And hopefully they ride high from today's game.
Yeah, I sure hope so. If you're talking about whip, by the way, Dre Jamison does not look as good as the stats show. He's got like a 4-something FIP, so that's kind of good for us. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got on that series.
Absolutely. I think that's all I got in general when it comes to the Cards. There hasn't been a whole lot that's happened around the league in terms of just either signings or big news stories. And in my opinion, I don't know. The Rays finally lose. They were riding high on a 13-game win streak to start the season. That ended once they started playing teams that weren't the worst in the division. We had a friend of ours that pointed out that their win streak came from sweeping teams that were last in the division or almost last in any division that they were in. So that's pretty poignant when it comes to their next series. I think they faced the Blue Jays and they lost 2. I don't know if that's correct, but I'm going to say that until I figure it myself out. Yeah, they played the Blue Jays today. So, yeah, I mean, the Rays are still a good team. You can't not knock them. I mean, you can lose. Obviously, we lost to teams that we should have beat, but to sweep 3 or 4 teams to start the season, that's pretty incredible. Yeah. So got to keep a close eye on those Rays as they continue to move down the season. Any other things that you noticed around the league?
No, there's small news out there. Logan Webb got extended with the Giants, but I'm not really interested too much in that. What I'm interested in is, Andy, how did you do in our scrimmage on Saturday?
I did all right. I mean, I already told you that I flubbed a throw, but I'm not a big fan of that field. It was pretty pretty rocky. The infield, well, for starters, playing third base is just awful because I think I told you they have a white garage door and a white driveway right in the line of sight of where the ball enters the zone. So pitches that were getting hit, I wasn't seeing. I don't know if that's just myself. I don't know if the other team was experiencing the same thing. But I hate that when you can't see the ball coming at you. I don't know, especially when you're playing the hot corner. But I felt a little tight. I didn't feel like I think you had mentioned I just need to knock the rust off, and so hoping that I can do that soon.
You had a nice base hit.
Yeah, I did, off of a pretty decent pitcher too.
Really good pitcher.
So
that's probably the best in the league, I'd say.
Yeah, I made an adjustment, and that's something that I'm always proud of, is knowing where I'm at. I didn't make the same adjustment for the last pitcher because he was throwing a lot slower than the guy I got a hit off of. But I knew that he was kind of fastball slider, He's told us that he throws a changeup in there every once in a while, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to try and jump on the first fastball that I see. And even though my hands were really slow, I was able to poke it past the quote unquote diving first baseman.
Yeah, the falling first baseman.
Yeah. But yeah, how did you feel about the scrimmage?
I felt really good, man. I think hitting fungos like really loosened up my body for swinging a bat because it felt good. My hands felt good. I hit a ball to right center for a double my first at bat, and that's one of the better things in baseball you can do is go the opposite way. So that felt good, and with power. So I do want to get a new bat though. I felt like I hit that way harder than like the distance that it went.
You think Buster's a little dead?
Yeah. Absolutely. Buster's pretty dead, I will say.
Yeah.
Buster is a bat that we have used for a few years now. We've talked it up, but now I think it's time to retire Buster. But no, I felt really good. It was a good time.
Absolutely. I hope we can figure it out to do it this weekend. Yeah, it was kind of funny because as I start driving home, I'm out west. The game was out in Collinsville. I'm just staring at these clouds that are coming in, and I'm getting all these texts, and my dad's like, "There's a big tornado warning around us." Like, and Andy, it's like right by your house.
Yeah.
And so I'm heading out west, and this huge storm front's just coming right in, and I drove right through it, and I was like, "Well, I guess we'll see if I get picked up off the highway here."
Dang.
But it wasn't bad. I got home in one piece, but yeah, that was pretty crazy to see that, and drove through some hail real quick, and pretty crazy.
Yeah. We all of our plans got canceled that night because of the storm, so it was actually kind of nice.
Yeah, I did stay home. I had some plans too, and I was just like, you know what, it's tonight's the night I just stay in.
Yeah, for sure.
All righty, man. Well, that was a fun series, a devastating series at times, but like we said, hopefully the Cardinals can ride high off of Tommy Edman's base hit at the end of that game there. If you have watched so far, please like and subscribe to the video. We greatly appreciate it. Again, it helps out the channel. And if you would like to find us anywhere, send us a note or just communicate with us. We're at red_jacket club, just about anywhere on social media. And yeah, man, thank you for watching. We appreciate you joining us for this long, and thank you for joining the club, and we'll see you next time.